In Oahu, with Hawaii's only true real estate radio show, the Team Lally Real Estate.
We'll buy it. If you have any questions, just give us a call at 799-9596 or check us out online at teamlally.com.
Hey, everybody, this is Attilio, and this is that art part of the show, Attilio's Random Thoughts. Yes, there I am. And Adrian, there's two main objectives we have with this part of the show. What is it? Do you remember?
To teach our listeners something that will bring them value.
Bring them value.
Yeah.
And hopefully, and the value only occurs when they do what with this information?
When they actually act on it.
When they actually act on it. And so what we found is that, with human nature, when you force someone to do something, when you come in heavy-handed with something, to have somebody do something, what is the natural response to that approach, Adrian?
Resistance.
Yeah, resistance. And so the softer, more kinder approach, more diplomatic approach, more persuasive approach works better. For example, the psychologists who are doing an experiment said, okay, they're having problems in a restroom with graffiti on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
So they put up a sign that said, please do not mark up the walls in the bathroom. And then they had another sign that said, under no circumstances will you absolutely not mark up the walls in the bathroom. Which do you think had better results?
Probably the nice one.
Please. Yeah, because what happened was when you come in heavy-handed with something, human nature is automatically to go into resistance mode. It's almost like they can't help themselves. It could be, down in our cortex of our brain, maybe even at the base of the stem.
It's in our DNA.
The lizard response to defend. And so one of the techniques that you can use to ask somebody, let's say you're in a business environment and somebody's got one proposal and you are adamantly opposed to it, you could come in and say, I am adamantly opposed to that proposal you have. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Where do you guys come off even mentioning or suggesting such an idiotic thing? And what do you think the response is going to be to that type of approach? Adversarial, openness.
They're not going to be very happy about it.
But then the other approach could be, great, I hear where you're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
Then you kind of repeat what they said. I just want to make sure I'm on the same page. You're saying X, Y, Z. Did I hear you correctly? And then the other person will say,
either they'll say yes, or they'll say,
or they're correct, and you go back.
You missed this part.
But then if you did get it correctly, they're going to say,
yes, that is correct.
Then you say this: are you open to another point of view? Simply by asking that question, are you open to another point of view? Psychologically, the brain starts opening. Resistance starts coming down. And then you have to wait for the acknowledgement. You can't just bulldoze right over the question and not wait for the answer. And hopefully, if your approach is right and you have some credibility with whoever it is that you're talking with, or you're approaching them in a calm and professional manner, when you say the question, Adrian, are you open to other possibilities? You're going to say,
sure.
Sure.
Tell me more.
Tell me more. And then you get into curiosity, right? You're asking a question to get them into curiosity. Now, what if you're so dug in on your thing and I say that, and I say, are you open to other possibilities? And come at me hard with a hard response.
Absolutely not.
Okay. Well, here's my suggestion then in this moment. Let's table this conversation for now, and why don't we circle back on this maybe at a better time?
It will never be a better time. I am not interested at all in any other perspectives.
Okay. I hear you. And if I hear you correctly, you're pretty adamant about your approach, your perspective on this topic.
Correct.
And there's nothing I could do or say. There's no other possibilities of anything possibly changing your mind.
Correct.
Okay, great. If you don't mind, I'll circle back with you. Not right away, but can I circle back with you in a couple of months? Would you be at least open to having me come back and at least hear you out with what you're proposing?
Maybe a couple of years.
No, but I want to circle back and hear what you have to say again, because I want to make sure that it's still sitting with me right. Would you be open to having you tell me?
Oh, I can tell you my thoughts.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, and you can listen.
Yeah, and then what you do is when you leave that person, you block them on your phone and never, ever speak to them again. They're dead to you. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, you said give it to you hard as far as the
no.
the approach.
And when we say that in the role play situation, I just got to share this with you. 98% of the time, we ever get that kind of response dealing with in a normal situation.
No, but you should be prepared because that does happen.
And they're dead to you, and you delete them from your phone, and you block them, and you avoid them in the hallways and never speak to them. No. Always seek peace. Always seek peace. All right, speaking of someone that's wanting to help you seek financial peace, who's that, Adrian?
That would be Kyle Shimoda.
Yeah.
With Impact Wealth Solutions.
Hello, I love that. Yeah. I love that. Seeking financial peace. That could be a new tagline right there.
Wow. You will help
Namaste.
them. You will help them namaste their financial future.
Yes.
Yeah, I think for a lot of people, at least when it comes to retirement, it's having a peace of mind, having a financial plan to have a peace of mind, knowing that your income will exceed your expenses.
Yeah.
And still being able to leave behind a legacy to your children, grandchildren, or maybe a cause that you believe in.
Yeah, because, there's a, I would say, right and wrong is so absolute, but I mean, you could say there's a right way to pass on wealth and there's a wrong way, or you could say maybe there's one way to pass on wealth, and maybe there's a more efficient way to pass on wealth.
Or you could just spend it all and then die after it's all gone.
Yeah, some people, I sometimes I say, if they don't have children or their children are run off, I say the best plan is where you spend every dollar and your last check bounces. That's the way to go.
Or I'm going to be the guy, I'm going to have an open casket, and everybody's going to be walking through, and then this guy, Jerry, will come up, and you know what he's going to say? Hey, he still owes me money.
You might confiscate your casket.
I don't know. Can you repo a casket? So today is the first day of the rest of our lives or our financial future. I do have an actual live example of someone that I spoke to regarding the DST. And we'll talk more about that. But would that be something that you'd want to talk about today, Kyle? DST and 1031s in real estate?
I think so. And as it comes up a lot with my clientele, we talk about retirement and income and financial planning and legacy. Real estate is majority of people's largest asset.
Yeah.
And a lot of people acquire real estate assets in order to create that income stream and then to leave behind to their children, which would potentially get a step up in cost basis and maybe avoid all the capital gains tax. And so, a Delaware statutory trust can be a great tool in the big picture because it can provide a very steady income stream that's well diversified. And it also gets a step up in basis upon death of an owner so that it goes to the beneficiaries who can then avoid capital gains tax.
Well, how people explain, breaking this down, Delaware statutory trust. Do you have to live in Delaware to do this?
No, you do have to be an accredited investor, meaning that if you're an individual you have at least $1 million of assets and an income or an income of 200,000 or more per year. Married couple, 300,000 or more.
Yeah.
So
why is that a requirement?
Property, yeah.
Why is that a requirement, Kyle?
You know, in the securities world, there's certain investments where they want to ensure that individuals have a level of sophistication and liquidity. Now, it's not a hard and fast rule yet. Most people that have $1 million of investable assets probably own investment property, have IRAs, have invested in, you know, the market, so they have some level of sophistication. Not always, at least it's some base guideline that the Securities Exchange Commission, the SEC, has set. So an accredited investor will qualify or be able to do a Delaware statutory trust, which is a securitized real estate portfolio.
Yeah, it's an investment vehicle, right?
It's another strategy.
It's just another strategy.
Lots of strategies, and this is one of them that just takes a lot of the stress away from owning investment real estate.
You own real estate. You're looking for only two things: investment and growth. Some people want one or the other, but most people like both.
Yes,
income and growth. And then in a DST, you've got income and growth. But what are some of the big differences between the two that make the selling of the real estate investment property and moving it into a DST? What are some of the positives? What are the pros?
I think the biggest pro for a lot of clients, the reason why they might flock to DST is not having to manage property and deal with the terrible fees, the toilets, the trash. Sometimes the tenants could be an issue. And a good friend, he had a tarantula that snuck into his garage overnight, and they couldn't find it. So tarantula might be another fee that you might have to deal with as a landowner. And
did you know?
When you own.
Did you know, Kyle, that the average person eats 6 spiders when they come to my house for dinner? That was a joke. I totally ripped that off. No, but they say, like, over your lifetime, you might eat 6 spiders over your lifetime unknowingly while you're sleeping. What does that have to do with anything? Nothing. But
yeah, you're getting sidetracked. We're trying to talk about DSTs and the benefits.
Yeah. So it can be challenging owning investment property, right? When the toilets overflow and you got to replace the appliances, you got to have reserves. And so what is the method of avoiding capital gains when we sell that property? Deferring it.
Yeah. So people can sell an investment property if they want to defer their capital gains tax. They can do a 1031 exchange, which is relinquishing an investment property and then replacing it with another investment property. And so the rule is like kind replacement, meaning that you can sell a condo and then you can replace it with another condo or a single family home or air rights, water rights, mineral rights, or a Delaware statutory trust, which also qualifies as like kind, as long as that property or investment is also held for investment purposes, right? Renting it out and not living in it.
I think I know somebody who's actually done this.
Well, you know yourself.
Well, besides me, but you, because I've been involved with it for a minute, but I want to talk to somebody who's been doing it for. So, Adrian, share with your personal testimonial with people.
So, so I met Kyle's wife at a PSI seminar. I was doing an auditing and sharing with her a little bit about my stressful situation. And she said, "Oh, my husband can help you with that." And I didn't believe her.
So nobody can help.
She gave me kind of a general overview, and I said, "No, that sounds too good to be true. There's no way." But it worked, and basically I had the first condo that I ever purchased in Florida. I had to sell it, and I was looking at about $40,000 in taxes. And Kyle came to the rescue, and we quickly got into a DST that happened to be a storage one. So I 1031'd the proceeds into
storage unit portfolio. Yep.
Yeah, and it was 4 or 5 states. And since the beginning, I think it started. I don't even know what we started at, but now we're up to 8.2% cap rate, and at least 23% appreciation since I started this in 2020.
Growth in income minus the headaches.
Yes.
Equals DST. That's
And I love it. It's just, it just keeps raising because I think that they keep, filling the facilities and raising the prices on the tenants who have.
Because
Yep.
Jeff Bezos is so good with Amazon and the Prime account and ship right now for free. The people are buying all kind of junk they don't need and then throwing it in the storage unit.
Correct.
Thank you, Amazon.
Yes. So,
and not to even mention the other benefit, which not to get too technical yet. If you did have a DC as an option when you sold that Florida property, you had some debt on it, a mortgage, and you'd have to replace that, which means money out of pocket or have to go and qualify for another loan, which I think at the time would have been very difficult, especially with the time frame we were working with. So
yeah, my credit was shot due to a bad divorce.
Yeah, so, they took her credit. They took it all back by the river, and boom, right in the head, one to the head.
So having that non-recourse loan, not having to qualify for a loan, that was huge for me.
And not have it appear on your credit. Today. That's not tying up your credit because it's a non-recourse loan.
That's right. So I'm getting to invest without it having any kind of impact as far as my borrowing power on other, potential investments.
Right now, listeners are eating flies. Their mouths have just dropped open the entire time we've been talking about this. And we're like, what? It's for real.
So we do have a little, page on our website, teamlally.com/DST, that I think it goes through the process in a little more technical way. And then you can even sign up for some time with Kyle and
one-on-one, webinars.
You can take a look at your situation and do the numbers and see if it doesn't make sense.
Kyle, if someone's in Topeka, Kansas, and they're selling a property, could you help them get into a DST?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we're licensed in all 50 states in the U.S.
False.
So anywhere that you're listening, you can contact Kyle.
Yeah, for our millions and millions of listeners all around the world, but only in the U.S., you can call Kyle and he can help you with a DST.
Actually, we had some clients that were Canadians, and there is a way for the Canadians to participate.
Is that just because they're so polite that we've allowed them this opportunity?
If they've paid at least 2 years of taxes in the U.S., that it's eligible for the foreign investors as well.
Coolio.
Right?
Yep. Yeah. Any U.S. investment property, even if it's held by a foreign national.
Kyle, DSTs. Tell us some names or institutions you might recognize that are owned in a DST.
Oh, some well-known names: ESPN's headquarters, Verizon, AT&T, Zurich Insurance. Those are all properties held in Delaware Statutory Trust, and those corporations rent the property. Amazon's, Walmart's, Whole Foods, just to name a few.
Student housing that you as parents are paying for, where your kids are staying right now at $8,000 a semester. Yep. Could be owned in a DST. And I always tell people, just because you've never heard of it doesn't mean it's not something legitimate. It's highly regulated. We're licensed in mentioning it. You're licensed and regulated in mentioning it, and we've actually done these. And
it's been around since 2004. In fact, you could go to irs.gov and you could type in the search Delaware Statutory Trust or IRC 2004-86, and it's been there in the tax code for a really long time.
And so it's a good thing, and we don't know what we don't know.
It's just another strategy.
Just another strategy. And so if you've got an investment property, looking at it this year, and you're like, I'm tired of the torching tarantulas and teenagers. It's time for me to get this thing sold and put into a DST. We'll help you with the sale of it. And Kyle and his team will help you with the DST.
Okay.
Yeah, more namaste, more peace of mind.
Yes.
Right. Well, thank you, Kyle, for your knowledge and all your DST tips.
Yes. Thanks, Kyle.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Hey, so if they need more information on that, what can they do?
You go to teamlally.com/DST.
By the way, if you're old school, you just want to pick up the phone and talk to us, 799-9596. That's it.
All right, so I've got a review before we go to break.
Okay.
So this is from Carl. So Carl says, I live in Wisconsin. I needed to sell a home in Hawaii, which came into my possession as a trustee. After extensive research, I chose to work with Alicia of Team Lally. Over the years, as a businessman and developer, I have worked with multiple real estate projects. Without exaggerating, my experience with Team Lally was simply the best. It was flawless. They handled everything for me from start to finish. They were hardworking, transparent, immediately responsive, and completely trustworthy. Thank you, Team Lally.
So, hey, we're about to take a break, but stay with us. When we come back, we'll be talking with Bradley Maruyama of AllState Insurance. We're going to talk about updates on the insurance they offer and their coverages and policies, so stay with us.
It's Tina Hollyfield from the Royal Ride, and you're listening to Country 97.5. How would you touch up your home if you had an extra $10,000? Would you paint, fix the lawn, make small repairs, or all of the above? Because it will increase the value of your home if you're planning on selling. That's exactly why my friends Adrian Lally and Attilio Leonardi of Team Lally Real Estate Group of Keller Williams Honolulu offer their 10K program. Carl didn't hesitate to take advantage of this advance to fix up his Makakilo investment property. And good thing, the repairs he made with the extra money put their home in escrow in only 2 weeks. Team Lally uses programs like the Team Lally 10,000 guarantee. Your home sells at a price and a deadline you agree to, or they'll buy it. They also know that life happens, so if needed, they will let you out of the contract at any time. Trust Adrian and Attilio of Team Lally to do the job for you. Call 808-799-9596 or visit teamlally.com, spelled Lilly today.
Hello, Hawaii. It's Colin Coward. Things may have changed in the sports world, but the games must go on. Look, I invest in real estate all over America, and right now with the ultra-low interest rates everywhere, if you're serious about selling your home, you need to talk to my friends Adrian Lally and Attilio Leonardi of Team Lally, Real Estate Group of Keller Williams Honolulu. Team Lally's incredible marketing with 3D tours and its huge database of buyers has continued to sell homes quickly with multiple offers over the asking price. Adrian and Attilio continue to spend tens of thousands per month on marketing to attract hundreds of buyers every month using a unique app that communicates daily with over 3 million luxury home buyers around the United States. Adrian and Attilio guarantee to sell your home at a price and deadline you agree to, or they'll buy it themselves. Give Adrian and Attilio a call at 799-9596 or online at teamlally.com. That's teamlally.com. And start packing.
Hi, I'm Barbara Corcoran. To sell your home on time for the most money, you need a sharp agent with a marketing strategy that creates the most demand. Bottom line, you need a partner willing to put their own money on the line for you. In Hawaii, I would hire Adrian Lally and Attilio Leonardi. Their marketing strategy is so effective that if your home doesn't sell on terms you agree to, Team Lally will buy it. Partner with the team I trust. Go online or call and get your home sold.
Welcome back, and thanks for listening to the Team Lally Real Estate Show, home of the Guaranteed Sold program, or we'll buy it. I'm Adrian.
And I'm Attilio.
And if you have any questions, just give us a call at 799-9596 or check us out online at teamlally.com.
Hey, our guest today was born and raised in Hawaii. He earned his Bachelor of Business Administration at the University of Hawaii, Manoa.
With over 20 years of service to customers of Allstate Insurance, he's come to know many local families and develop relationships which he used to better understand the needs of his customers. He's the owner of Maruyama and Associates Allstate Insurance in Hawaii. Please welcome our guest, Bradley Maruyama.
Hey, Bradley.
What's up?
Hello.
Hello. So we got you on for a little bit.
Good afternoon.
Yes. So welcome back. We know that you're usually on with your short tip, but this week we're excited because we have some extra time to go a little deeper on insurance and these stories. I mean, I know you have over the 20 plus years, you got to have a lot of stories of this moment of truth.
Yeah, I know year after year for the last 10 years, we always talk about the moment of truth. And I think it's the most important thing of being an agent because it's easy for an agent to invest for the premiums and send out the insurance cards, but what's most important is when you have to use your insurance and file a claim, you want to make sure your agent's right by your side and advocating. We don't pay and approve these claims, but it's very important that your agent or agency that you're working with does hold your hand and advocate on their behalf because so many things can go sideways during the claims process.
And it usually goes sideways like at an inconvenient time. But just because it's an inconvenient time, Bradley, it does not mean that you're not around to help.
No, absolutely, yes. Yeah. And we typically get the calls when it's going sideways. So that's why we try to follow up, just to say, hey, how's it going, agent? How's the claim going? Please call us. If you don't get a call back from the adjuster, please call us. If you're struggling to work with your property manager of your association, please call us if your vendor is not treating you the way you're supposed to, especially if you're an approved vendor. So it's very important to work as a partnership with your insurance agency.
Yeah, and I think it's important for them to get a call from you or them being aware that you're involved in it. Because just like with our clients, when we recommend vendors, we represent a lot of business to that vendor. So not that they should be doing it differently just because we called them, but they are more self-aware that it's important that we take care of that client for Bradley because he's not going to refer future business to me.
That's right. And Bradley's watching, right?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. This could be a little negative thing.
Yeah.
But it's good that I disclose this and, throw it out there so you can think about it. But I lost a piece of business this morning. And the comment I got via email is, you and Angelique, I really like, and I wanted to give you guys a business, but I spoke to the neighbor, and they had a tough time with their condo claim. It dragged on, and they weren't very pleased. But again, that's just a reflection of that one claim. Now, when I called the client back, to get some feedback, what happened? Did your neighbor tell you what happened? Well, of course, the agency was not involved. So, although it was an AllState's fault, and it was the association's adjuster that they were waiting for, they felt that the adjuster or the agency should have worked on their behalf to help advocate because the insureds don't know insurance. They were depending on their agent or the adjuster to help advocate for them to get their claim through. And, that wasn't there. And we're all separate. We're not just one following their AllState. We're all independent agencies. So I did let them know that, I'm so sorry that your neighbor went through it, but if you do ever consider AllState again, please look me up because it would be a different experience.
So what you're saying is that maybe not all AllState agents are created equally.
Oh, they're all created equal. They all start at step one.
Yes, but just so Attilio and I are with Keller Williams.
Yeah.
And there's 180,000 of us, right?
Yeah.
And we're not all created equally.
No.
Right? So same thing.
Start at square one, get the license.
Same thing for AllState. Right?
But just like in anything, when stuff goes sideways, you need and we've had personal experience with Bradley and stuff going sideways.
With the moment of truth.
With the moment of truth. And the moment of truth is like, we call Bradley like, hey, I went and call Uber Eats and they're kind of running late with my food. Can you stop by Zippy's and get me one zip pack? No, that's not the moment of truth. The moment of truth is you got to do a claim. And then you're going to go through that process. And so don't throw the baby out with the bathwater with your AllState experience. Check to see that it's Bradley and his team because things are different.
Because they're the best.
They're the best. My house, my car, my HO6, all with Bradley and his team.
And then our business.
Our business.
Yes.
And our office. Yep. Everything. We got Bradley swag, Maruyama swag all over the place. But let's talk about more of the
We have some topics that we want to touch on with you during our time today.
topics.
Yes.
That's our topic music.
Yeah, no, so the first one is with hurricanes. Yeah, hurricane season. Let's
Sound
talk
effects.
about
We got sound effects on this show.
Let's talk about some tips on preparing for this hurricane season.
Yeah.
As for preparing, what I like to tell my insureds, whether they're new or doing a review, go around your house with your phone and start taking videos and pictures of all the belongings outside and inside. Because during a claims process, so if your house is damaged or there's personal contents that may have blown away or gotten wet, when you have to itemize what's in your house that got damaged, it's much easier to go through that claims process because it's going to be stressful. You're gonna be living in conditions where you may not have a roof or a leaking roof. But to alleviate some of that pressure, go around your house and take a picture of that shed outside, or take a picture of the surfboards that you have in your garage. All that kinds of stuff will help aid you during the process.
Yeah. It's a good tip.
What can also get you prepared is understanding your coverage. So we constantly talk week in, week out to review your hurricane insurance with your agent.
Yeah.
Not just your hurricane, but your homeowner's insurance. But since we're on the topic of hurricane, make sure you understand your deductible. A lot of people don't realize that they're being offered 5% deductibles out there. So what that means is, if you had a house that was $500,000 in coverage for your structure, your deductible is $25,000. So before your insurance company does anything to fix your house, you're responsible for the first $25,000. So it's very important to understand your deductible. When you're reviewing your hurricane insurance, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Making sure you understand what your coverages are.
Yeah, so I recently, especially on Kauai, cost of construction is so much higher than Oahu. So there was a realtor out there that reached out to me and said, Brad, I know your system automatically increased our structure coverage, our cost per foot. But he goes, 500 isn't enough here on Kauai. We have to increase it to 600 per square foot. So I went in there, went to the cost estimator. We did increase it to 600 a square foot. But it's important to review these coverages with your insurance, because when that hurricane comes, if I want to be that agent that can service you at the moment of truth, we've got to have the right coverages.
Yeah.
I had an insured ask me, so why do you get so stressed out during El Nino years or hurricane seasons?
Yeah.
My biggest fear and what stresses me out so much during the season is sometimes we don't get the hurricane payments from the mortgage company.
Oh.
So what that means is when we're closing on your property and it's paid through escrow, it doesn't. You as insured aren't paying for the bill. The bill is being sent to the mortgage company. They cut us a check and pay for it. But every hurricane season, as the hurricane is approaching, we start going to our cancellation audit to see which hurricane policies we never got payments for. Because we don't want to be that insurance agent that says you don't have hurricane coverage after the hurricane passes. So what we do is we go through that list. We start calling everyone. Did your mortgage change? Did you refinance? Are you still wanting the hurricane coverage? And we're trying to get all these hurricane policies out before there's a moratorium. So a moratorium is when the insurance companies stop writing all business.
No way.
That typically occurs when a hurricane is 500 nautical miles from the Big Island.
Okay.
Or when it's a hurricane warning. So once that hurricane warning comes out, all the insurance companies will say, no more car insurance, no more hurricane insurance, no more home insurance, no nothing. We're not going to write anything because the risk is too great.
It's like when the dealer's showing an ace on the blackjack, and they go, insurance? Mm-hmm. And then when the hurricane is 500 naughty miles off of Big Island, they're going to say, no more insurance.
I mean, that seems really odd, that the mortgage company, because the mortgage company requires you to get this insurance, and then they're dropping the ball
Maybe the homeowners?
Yeah, on the,
Not
I mean, 'cause
necessarily
they're
the
investing.
hurricane?
Like you usually have at least 80% of that value,
Yeah.
right? If you get in a loan.
Yep.
So that seems very strange that they wouldn't, take that money from the escrow account and pay the insurance.
Yeah.
How often does that happen, Bradley?
And I'm bringing it up because it happened this morning. I got an email. How do I prevent this from happening? It gave me anxiety, and the email came at 12:30 a.m., so I know it bothered them.
Yeah.
But it's like, how can I prevent this? Because they escrow it. I see they paid for my home insurance, but they didn't pay for my hurricane. And I think the reason why it occurs is that we're a little different than the rest of the states and from the rest of the states because we have hurricane coverage.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
So a lot of times they see that they have wind coverage on their homeowners, and they say, "Oh, okay, this will suffice," not knowing that there's still a hurricane policy that they have to pay. So I think that's the issue. Sometimes they refinance, and we send them the declaration pages because it was midway through the renewal. But they don't let us know, and we don't have a new updated mortgage company and loan number. Now the bill doesn't get sent to the new mortgage company, so they don't pay it. So that could be another scenario.
So just the miscommunication between the mortgage company and the insurance company.
Yeah.
And then they're only paying for whatever part they feel like is needed.
Yeah.
Even though that's not what the homeowner had signed up for.
Yes.
So that's a big good to double check that. You don't figure that out when the hurricane came across already.
Or when the hurricane is 500 nautical miles and you can't do anything about it.
One, but not 500 or 499.
I love how Bradley and his team are so proactive. Yeah, they're proactive about it because obviously, this would just be a tragedy if the hurricane came and damaged the house, and here they are thinking they had the insurance, and then their mortgage company didn't pay for it.
Well, the best insurance is the one you don't use, and then the even better insurance is the one that actually covers the situation you're in.
Yes.
Once it does happen. But, Bradley, I was thinking about it, and I was talking with a group of economists of why construction costs are more expensive on Kauai, and they have actually narrowed it down to green bottles. One case Heineken is very more expensive for the construction workers after they're done with the day, so construction costs are naturally going to be higher on Kauai.
Yeah.
Green bottleflation. That's what it's called.
Inflation.
Yeah.
We talk a lot about HO6 and homeowners, but here's another gap of insurance for hurricane. And a lot of people will get renter's insurance because it's so inexpensive.
Yeah.
But if you have renter's insurance, keep in mind you need a separate hurricane policy. The renter's insurance will cover you for fire and wind.
Mm-hmm.
But, so many agencies as well as insurers, they think, this renter's insurance got me covered, but there's a gap. You still need to get a hurricane policy on top of your renter's insurance.
Yeah.
And another one, I got a new employee that I'm training, and when you buy a condo, you're required to get an HO6 policy.
Yes.
Same thing with the townhouse now. But when you're closing and you're getting your loan, typically HO6 policies don't require you to get hurricane insurance. It's not mandatory. So if you live in a townhouse, not so much a high-rise, but if you live in a townhouse, I would really consider and advocate you folks to get a hurricane quote or a policy because it's very inexpensive.
Yeah.
Because your townhouse has a very high probability of getting hit. They're not elevated 20 stories up. Some of them are 2-3 stories high. So
typically, Bradley, what is that difference in cost? Like when you have your normal insurance policy, just to add that hurricane rider on the HO6.
Yeah.
What's the typical?
Yeah, so to get some upgrades and some contents and what I call additional living expense, I would be about $100 a year.
Wow.
To go and add this coverage on. Very minimal.
I went to the movies last night, and one small popcorn was $100.
Yeah.
So Bradley, shifting onto first-time home buyers. We work with a lot of first-time home buyers, and even experienced home buyers, and people they forget.
Yeah.
But
because they're going from renting.
Yeah.
They may not even have renting insurance, and they're like, homeowners insurance. What's that?
Yeah. What is that? And then
What's that homeowners insurance?
And what can they expect?
Yeah.
When it comes to this.
Yeah. So it's I like to talk about this because sometimes the insurance can actually disqualify your transaction. So I like to always talk about what could hold back your transaction, things to look for. So homeowners insurance and condo insurance is getting a little tighter, meaning that the underwriting is getting a little stricter to get these policies. What I would be looking for is if the house is built before 1955. Number two, has the plumbing and electrical been updated? So, is it the old knob and tube electrical with just two prongs with no breaker box? Is the plumbing upgraded to plastic, PVC, or copper? Mm-hmm. Because the old cast iron plumbing
rusting already
has a high tendency to break, crack, and back up pipe. So
with the cast iron sewer line too. My dad had it running under his house. It was $40,000 to fix it.
Wow. So Bradley, when you come across a home that has not had these things upgraded, can they get coverage, or what's the solution?
Yeah. So, interesting enough, AllState does write these types of policies. Okay, so we do get a lot of referral business from some of the brokers. But I always tell people we can write it, but I highly recommend you get this updated because you don't want to be living in a house that has a high fire exposure. You don't want to risk your children or your family members being stuck in a house. So although we do write these Niagara Tube homes, please get it updated. The harder ones are when the roof is older than 20 years old. So all companies now, if the house is older than 25, they want to see some documentation that your roof has been redone.
Yeah.
Now with us, we will still write it, and they'll give you time to get it fixed. But you got to have a signed contract for us to prove to the underwriters that you are going to get the roof done within the next 30 or 60 days.
Okay.
And then you guys come out and inspect. And what happens if you haven't done the roof in that time period? Then what?
And I'm gonna get this ugly email that says there's a hazard. We're gonna non-renew this policy, and we gotta go back and say, here's a signed contract with XYZ Roofing, and they will be fixing the roof in the next 60 days. So they'll grant us some time to get it fixed.
Yeah, that's good. And these are, I call these grown-up situations. Time to be an adult with your own piece of real estate and knowing about these insurance. But what else, Bradley?
Flood insurance. So, a lot of realtors, because over the years I've been doing a lot of flood classes, but flood insurance sometimes would hold up this transaction because maybe the loan officer or the insured never seek a flood quote. So now they're working down to the final days of closing. They got the homeowners, they got the hurricane, and they got a $4,000 flood quote.
Ooh.
Which is going to add close to $270 a month to their mortgage, and now they don't qualify. So if you're buying in a flood zone AE or VE, typically the mortgage is going to require a flood insurance policy. So please, if you're buying in a flood zone, which is only near River Manoa or coastline, underwater in Lally, Kailua, Waianae, Kahala, please reach out and get that flood insurance quote because this could disqualify you from qualifying for your loan.
And then let's talk a little bit about the elevation certificate can help save you quite a bit of money when it comes to the flood insurance.
Yeah.
What is that, Bradley?
So an elevation certificate, flood elevation certificate is done by a surveyor engineer that will show how high your house should be above base flood elevation to get the preferred rate in your flood insurance. So they will shoot these elevations to see where your house lies. Now, if you have a newly built home, there's probably something on file with the city and county because it has to meet the code of the building codes. But basically, they want to make sure that if there's a tsunami or the river overflows, that your house is still sitting above where the tidal waters would be.
So typically,
for my property in Ida, we sit in a flood zone, and even after we had all those torrential rains several years ago, the water came up, but it never did enter the house. So it just lowers the risk of your house flooding.
Yeah.
And lowers your flood insurance payments, right? So, I mean, it may be worth it to get the elevation certificate or even make those little modifications that need to be done so that you can save on that flood insurance.
Jody talked about it on the other show last week about budget, and you gotta incorporate your cost of insurance into your budget for homeownership. It's important.
Mm-hmm.
Bradley, one other question. It's very important. I've been thinking about this for a long time. It's created quite a bit of controversy out there in the world. But do you think children should be allowed to use ChatGPT to do their homework?
Absolutely not.
Were you asking ChatGPT to answer that question for you?
He has firsthand experience on this.
Yeah.
He's got some kids at home.
He said, college is going to be easy. I got some apps that's going to help me get through college. Oh,
yeah. Yeah, I went to prom with my ChatGPT. I don't even date. I just brought ChatGPT with me. The conversation was great. Very supportive, the ChatGPT.
Let's say as we are wrapping up the show here, Bradley, I'd like you to give us some stories. Give us a story, an example.
And you have to start off with "Once Upon a Time"
of the moment of truth. I think our listeners deserve to hear.
Yeah, give us one example.
One of these stories.
It was a good one because I'm going through it right now. But so once upon a time, 3 months ago, there was an individual, fairly young, first-time home buyer that came home to a big waterfall coming down her vent in her bathroom. And the water kept gushing out, didn't stop. She went to the resident manager and found out 13 floors up that a contractor hit a pipe.
Ooh.
And the shut-off valve was not actually shut off, so water was flowing. They couldn't stop it from coming down, so it damaged her whole unit. Of course, she's going to be very traumatized. She was panicked. She didn't know what to do. So she gave me a call, and I said, here's the process. First things first. We're going to set you up to stay at a hotel until we can find a long-term condo for you to rent. So she was very happy with that. I said, meanwhile, though, as I'm setting this up, go and get your association bylaws and all the contact information for the property manager, the association insurance agent, and your resident manager. So I got all this documentation. I got all the contacts. We filed the claim. But there was a hiccup. Nothing ever goes smoothly. We found out 3 weeks after we filed the claim that the association deductible went from $25,000 to $75,000, and this is 3 weeks after.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he's the best. Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
Wow.
Like a happy ending.
Yes.
Like a story with a good ending.
Yeah, that must have been, very traumatic. You said that she was like younger and, first time home buyer and just to experience all of that.
That's why it's important for you to get your insurance reviewed
by Bradley.
By Bradley and his team. Make sure you're covered. If you want to, make sure you got that squared away now before something happens.
Or even just give him a call and let him review it, and the conversation's free.
Yeah. Call him up. You're like, oh, my girlfriend, help me, Bradley. Why I need your help in this moment of truth?
Calm down. Yes.
Take a deep breath. Yeah. 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 Well.
Yes. And you're an excellent professional advocator.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bradley, for everything.
Being on the show, supporting Team Lally, and everything else. So, thanks, Bradley.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Hey, if you're a realtor out there and you want to, get somebody on your team as a good insurance company, good insurance team, that's Bradley and his team. We highly recommend them. Working with them for many years.
Yes.
And if you're just somebody out there that needs a good insurance agent,
Bradley.
we recommend Bradley again and his team.
So if you go to teamlally.com under the resource tab, there's experts we trust, and he's there. We've got several videos of Bradley through the years, even.
Yeah, you can see how he's better looking with every video.
Yes.
Yeah. So hey, again, reminders: we're looking for superstars. You go to jointeamlally.com. We're always looking for people to bring onto our team. And if you're thinking about getting into the career of real estate, HawaiiCareerNight.com. Again, that's HawaiiCareerNight.com. We're gonna have a first one that is
coming up in June.
In
person. Yes, but also there is the Zoom option that is available.
No Zoom.
Like maybe like you're not here in Hawaii yet.
When you're on the Zoom, you look 10% uglier. So come in person so we can see your handsome and beautiful faces.
Okay, thanks for listening, and thank you to our sponsors.
Jody and Derek of Pacific Rim Mortgage.
Bradley with AllState Insurance.
Kenji with Pillar Post Home Inspections.
John with Kilauea Pest Control.
Duke with Hawaii Pacific Property Management.
Kyle of Impact Wealth Solutions.
Robinson with Fine Line Paintworks.
Chastity of American Floor and Home.
Jake with Skytech Construction, Roofing, and Solar.
Ryan of Zero Res Hawaii.
And Jeff with Loan Depot. If you want to get a hold of any of our sponsors, just go to teamlally.com.
We also want to give a big thank you to Leah Rodriguez, our producer here in the studio.
Yee-hoo.
Make sure to tune in next week. We'll have an awesome guest talking about something that'll change your life.
Forever. This is the Team Lally Real Estate Show, home of the guaranteed
sold program. If we can't sell your home with the agreed upon price in our time frame, we'll have it bought for cash.
Thanks and aloha.